Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. There he is! I think that's for you.
Give it up for James Murr! Hello, everybody.
We have ample mics to choose from here.
What, am I in the right room?
Anybody here for a fan of Impractical Jokers, perchance?
Where's Joey Fatone? Is he here too? I thought he was coming. No, I got stood up by Fatone. Damn it! Everybody.
You want me to text him? I'll call him. I'll say, all right, Joe, where are you?
Wow, I didn't realize I was walking right on stage. Hello, everybody. Oh my gosh, how many of you haven't met already today? Some people? How many of you have I shown my tattoo to already? My tattoo to? You what? You saw my light? I'll show it at some point. Is there cameras? I don't know. Is it a camera guy? Hi, camera guy. Okay, are you broadcasting or is this just recording? It's recording, damn it. I'll come around and show each of you my tattoo individually. Alright, everybody, oh my gosh, thank you so much, FanX, for having me. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. This is amazing. This is like better than New York Comic Con or San Diego Comic Con. This rocks!
Your first time in Salt Lake, Murr?
What's that about?
Your first time in Salt Lake?
But no. I actually, crazy story, long before Jokers, I was a TV producer, and my job was to create and sell TV shows, and the very first TV show I ever sold was about the plow truck drivers that took guys up and they cleared the roads up to Big and Little Cottonwood Canyon roads, the most avalanche-prone roads in North America. I'm still pitching the TV show, you know? And we sold the show. I sold the show to A&E, and we shot a bunch of episodes. So for a while, I lived in Salt Lake, and I have so many friends from Salt Lake, and I freaking love Salt Lake City.
Well, the feeling is mutual here. I feel the feeling is mutual.
Oh, no, thanks, man. I feel the same way about you. I don't know. Well, hi, thank you everybody for coming. What do you want to do? Do you want to take selfies with everyone in the audience? I don't know.
That may take a minute.
You guys can see it. I'm going to come around and sit on your laps and take photos.
I think we probably have time for one major group selfie photo. We can at least do that.
Oh my God, that'd be great. Okay, before the end, I will take a giant group selfie and post it. Yes? And I'm gonna tag each and every one of you individually. It'll take me about 4 hours to post.
Just stay in your seats. I hope you pack some snacks. We will be here a while.
That's great. How shall we proceed?
Well, let's do this. I think everyone obviously is here. I'm sure there's some fans of your work as an author, right? Anybody read any of my books?
No, this one guy! One dude! He's like, I'm Larry! I was like, he's not this book.
Yes, it's like, I just want to be in the selfie!
Well, thank you, lone sir, for buying my books. Yes, I write a number of thrillers. So the crazy thing about my books, so in 2004, long before Impractical Jokers, I spent a year of my life writing a thriller, like a sci-fi thriller called Awakened, and we weren't famous, we were just regular guys. I sent it out to every publisher in New York City. I couldn't get a single person to read the book except for Q and my mother. That's it. My Q loved it, my mom's like, I've read better. You know, she's like, it's no bridges in Madison County. You know. Anyways, so it sat on my computer a year of my life for 15 years. And then like in 2017 or 18, the guys are like, you know, Murr, you should do something with that book. So I sent the same book in to HarperCollins without a single word changed. And they bought the trilogy immediately. And that first book hit #1 on the international bestseller list. So the lesson there is this: all those publishers years ago that passed on the book, they can all suck it.
Well, you asked where we start, I think that's a nice quote to get us going. For sure. But I do have a feeling, although there is the guy over here who is a fan of your authorship, I do have a feeling that the majority of us want to talk about Impractical Jokers.
Maybe.
Just a hunch.
It's been on a few years. It's so weird. Not only has the entire audience has seen me me naked on TV, which is weird. You know, you see me get my nipples pierced, a ferret scudding tattoo on my thigh. You see me injected with Novocaine, saying crazy grief is brilliant. It's weird that I've lived my most embarrassing moments with all of you.
But that's one question I do have for you. So you've done, man, you just rattled off everything that you would think that someone would deter them from doing any of a number of those things in the future. Is there any one of those you're like, man, that really was embarrassing?
Every day! The most embarrassing, I think, was, do you guys remember the punishment where I thought I was competing in a bodybuilding competition? They greased me up, my nipples are out for the world to see. I'm already mortified, I'm in like a little American flag Speedo, and right before I walked in the room, I said, what if there's a reversal here? What if, like, it's not a bodybuilding competition, but in no universe did I imagine it was Danica McKellar, Winnie Cooper from the Wonder Years, looking gorgeous, and I have not aged gracefully. And I walked in, and I was like, my heart sank, but I was also very proud of my friends for coming up with such a great twist, and I will never live that moment down in my life. Yeah, not proud of that. What's that? Yeah. It was, ironically, the worst moment of her life, too.
If you thought it was bad for you, right? Now, is there anything like that where you look back at that and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we did that? Is there any of those that you felt like, one of the four of you had to be genuinely upset at the other? Like, you dirty birdie, I can't believe you made me do that.
There's a couple times, so like when they shaved off my eyebrows, which is still my license, by the way, it's a 10-year punishment. I can't change my license until 2024, so you're not gonna be able to see it, it's too far away, but you know, screw it, hold on.
Can I vouch? Let me vouch.
Hold on one second.
So now, Murr, if we can, as a broadcaster, I can help identify here what we're looking at. Do you mind if I kind of, for quality assurance, kind of sample the goods here that we're talking about? So for everyone who wasn't in that main row, oh jeez. Okay, so if I can describe this on the outskirts of the room, you have what appears to be probably a convicted felon, I would say, in the state of New York.
I look like a see something, say something, you know?
Right.
I look like a baked potato going through a divorce. Q says that I look like Lex Luthor's, you know.
An air commercial gone wrong. There is no hair on the eyebrows or on the top of the head.
Well, the crazy thing is this, so the reason why, when we were filming that punishment, Q stopped filming and said, hold on, I didn't know what was going to happen to me, right? So he said, time out, freeze, and he pulled the guys aside in the corner because he was having second doubts, you know? And the reason is, 1 week after we filmed that punishment, I was my nephew's confirmation sponsor in church. So I had to stand in front of a church this size, like 500 parishioners, proclaiming I would defend him against Satan, while I looked like Satan. And people are looking at me like, something's different about Murr. Without eyebrows, no one knows what you're feeling. You have no expression. It's terrible.
It was just one vanilla move to the next.
Yeah, it's just one indignity after another. So that my driver's license has no hair and no eyebrows. My passport has Q's disgusting hair on it. Like, all they're doing is messing with my travel. I can't travel anywhere.
You're not getting into the country or out of the country anytime soon.
That's right.
Now, on the reverse side of that, do you have one of those jokes or those pranks that you played on one of the other guys that you'd be like, oh, this is one of my ones I look back on, and I was really proud of this.
I can't say that. There is, do you guys remember the episode where we had secretly been pranking Sal for a year, and he thought he was getting called before Homeland Security, legit, because we were filming one day, and we told him to jump up into a federal statue and pull the statue's nose, like I got your nose. unbeknownst to us, you can't do that. That's illegal, right? So like a week later, we get a letter to the office from Homeland Security asking us to explain what the hell we were doing. They explained, unbeknownst to Sal, we explained it was a TV show, sent them the permits, and they said, okay, no worries, don't do it again. But we kept sending letters to the office for a year, building and escalating from Homeland Security, and it inevitably led to Sal having to go to testify at that deposition for Homeland Security. He thought it was real. It wasn't. But the flip side of that is this. Something is happening to one of the guys right now that's amazing in his real life, and it's not real. And he don't know it. And I'll never tell him.
So you have the one you love the most right now is happening as we speak.
As we speak.
How long do you think it's going to be before we see it?
You know, Joe's just had a son, Remo. It's not his son. I'm kidding. I'll tell you my story. So we had a punishment when Joe had his son Remo about 2-3 years ago. His wife, we wanted to name his baby as a punishment on the show. And his wife is Lebanese and he's Italian. So we wanted to name his baby Hummus Luigi Gatto. It was great. He wouldn't let us do it.
I can't imagine she went for that.
They wouldn't let us do it.
What does your wife think of the show?
She loves it. I'm happily married, by the way, guys. She's here in Salt Lake right now. I'm days away from my 1-year anniversary, so it's very exciting.
Congratulations.
She loves it. It's great. We met for the first book that I wrote, and I never believed people when they said you know, because I'm 45. I just assumed I was not going to get married. I would never find love. And when I met her, I freaking knew. I knew. And I was like, holy cow, look, everyone was right all along. And she loves it. She loves the show. It's great.
Now, did you meet when you had no hair on your face? Was that the clincher?
Yeah, no. I had very little hair on my head when we met. No, but the weird thing is that they used my wife against me. So in a recent episode, my wife, has a degree in nursing, so they made her take the catheter out 2 weeks before my wedding last year, which was mortifying. So that was fun.
It's an introduction to your honeymoon, not quite the way you would have hoped.
I freaked out.
With her, you got married, you said it was about a year ago.
It was a year ago, almost to the day.
How was that in the middle of COVID?
It was strange, because we had to stop on the TV show for like 6 months, and that was the longest I hadn't seen the guys in 20 years. We've been friends since we were 13, best friends, so that was really strange, like suddenly having this summer off. We were supposed to be on tour, we were supposed to be here in Salt Lake City last summer too, right? But we're coming back, I think, next July 1st, right? So we were going into the summer assuming that we would not have any time to plan the wedding together. So in one way, it was actually a blessing because suddenly we had all this free time to plan it. It was hard planning it because we literally planned 4 different weddings. The full-size one we didn't get to do, obviously. Half-size one, we didn't get to do that one either.
Being like a 1980s aerobic video, you have the high impact, the medium, low level.
Exactly. We got to do like a quarter of the size of the original plan, all outdoors, of course. And then the most extreme was just going to be like our bridal party in my backyard. But we lucked out, man. It was just, the venue converted itself to like all outdoors. We had a perfect day in Pennsylvania in September, and it was great. And it was just love my life, and there you go. So there's that.
Well, congratulations. And an easy feat in the middle of your social distancing.
Yeah, I socially distanced from my wife for 6 months.
And so if you're ever called on to do it again, if you get kicked out of the house, things will go out pretty smoothly in that.
Yeah, it'll be good. So it's great. It's been an amazing first year for sure.
When you guys met, you've been friends since 13?
The guys I met first day of high school, freshman year, religion class, and I'll tell you my first impression of Joe Gatto. He was nosing the teacher secretly as she was teaching religion class. And so I'm in class crying, laughing, and I was like, that's the guy for me, And I met Sal Vulcano the same exact day.
That was it? That's how you did it. When did the other guys come into play?
Then we became best friends in high school. We did comedy together for all of our high school career. And then we went to different colleges. And then after college, we decided to come back together and form our comedy troupe, the Tenderloins. And then we performed live for many years in New York City to no success. We literally had a show in like 2009, and 2 people bought tickets to see us perform. And they spent $5 a ticket, and the theater cost us $65 to rent. So we lost $55 on the night. And then 10 years later, we sold out Madison Square Garden. It was crazy, crazy.
Small humble beginning, and then going out to Madison Square Garden. At what point did you guys start to gel as a comedy group?
I think when you get old enough that you think you won't succeed and you don't care anymore, you're just doing it because you love to do it, I think that's when things start to happen. And I think we'd reached that point in like 2009. We had 2 other TV shows that never went to series. We sold a sketch comedy show to Spike TV, they passed on the series. We sold an improv comedy show to A&E, they passed on the series. So like Jokers like 3 times a charm. And 1 month before I pitched and sold Jokers to my job, one president of the network told us we were too old for TV. Another network exec said we weren't ready for TV. And so now here we are, 10 years later, 11 years later, 300 episodes in, so they can all suck it too.
Are you guys in the middle of filming right now?
Yeah, we start filming in 2 weeks for the new season.
So, I'm assuming that when you plan this out, this isn't just kind of off the cuff. Although, you know, I mean, I'm sure that half of the show is.
Yeah.
What are you kind of looking for? What's happening in this next season? What's coming up that we don't know yet? I know you plan things.
Yeah.
That brain, something's going on in that brain.
Yeah.
Not doing something.
The best thing is planning the punishments, right? Because you don't ever want to leave to use the bathroom. Because when you come back from the men's room, that you hear all the writers and the guys whispering, shh, and you're like, shit, they just planned something against me. I shouldn't have left. So all of us just spend all of our time holding our bladders all day long. I know we have great stuff planned. It's tricky filming the show during COVID. We have to reinvent the show dramatically. But I think it's led to some great punishments that we never would have done before. There was one a few months ago where they had this whole class of like 4th and 5th graders on Zoom, and they thought they were zooming in to the International Space Station, and they built a gimbal and strapped me to it, and the whole gimbal rotated so I was upside down, and so these kids are watching me on Zoom thinking I'm an astronaut, but I'm upside down, but the camera rotated with me, so as I'm like eating spaghetti or drinking milk, it's going up instead of down, but I'm upside down. So we got these dumb kids who tricked us. Like challenges and punishments like that, I don't think we ever would have thought of. It's COVID friendly, obviously, you know, we're distanced, it was on Zoom. We never would have come up with that kind of creativity if it was regular times, you know?
Who came up with the pranks to begin with? When you guys started working together, your friends, you started to, hey, let's do some comedy stuff together. When did the pranks start entering into the scene?
It was always in our friendship. We always used to screw with each other and embarrass each other. That's always been part of our DNA as friends. Which I think, do you guys have friends like that? Yeah. Everyone does. I think that's what's universal about the show is we all have friends like that, and I think we remind people of friends they used to have back in the day. So it was very natural to us. And then, but in season 1, we came up with everything, every challenge. We still do. We have a team of our friends that are writers, but we still come up with almost everything. The show is ostensibly an improv show because we have no idea. We can plan and come up with jokes, but truly, we have no idea how you're going to react when you walk into White Castle and Q's will say, "Welcome to the Castle of White." We have no idea. So the show, that's our background. We are an improv comedy group at heart, you know.
I get the feeling like, if you're like this in person, right?
I am like this in person.
I feel like you guys are exactly how we see you on TV.
I hope so. I think I'm the same. You feel like I'm the same? I feel like I am. Someone came up to me earlier in the comment like, I love your character most on Impractical Jokers. I was like, lady, I'm not a character. It's me.
Who has to clean it up the most for TV?
Who has to what?
Who has to clean it up the most?
You mean like the set? What do you mean? Well, I would say the Q throws up the most on set. My favorite moment I think ever. Can you guys see me in the back? Yes? Do you want to stand? Yeah. Yeah, one thumbs up. There you go. If years from now, like somebody said, what was Impractical Jokers? Like my kids don't know what it was or something, and they said, what was it? I would show them one scene. I think it's the perfect scene in the show. We were working as receptionists, And Joe was behind the counter at the desk, and we had one of those like bouncy balls for like good posture. And we said, Joe, go to sit down and just fly off the ball, right? So he bounces and flies off. He knocks into a garbage pail, knocks the whole thing over. A half-eaten sandwich flies out of the trash. We say, Joe, start eating the trash on the floor. So he starts eating the sandwich, going nom 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 nom. The visual of Joe eating a half-eaten sandwich made Q throw up from laughter. The sound of Q throwing up made Sal throw up. Meanwhile, I'm oblivious, eating lo mein the whole time. Perfect 30 seconds of the show.
We're talking about getting it. I mean, you're feeling it in there in that room. I mean, you're saying like, you're about to, like, everyone who's witnessing that's like, I'm feeling a little queasy.
No, I don't get that. I don't have that gene. Sal, everything makes Sal throw up.
I feel like there's going to be a minute here for questions, so if you start to develop the questions in your mind you want to ask here, Murr, think of those in a second. We're going to get to those here in a minute. I'm trying to feel like I want to get into this or not.
You're rocking the no socks. I can't do that. I mean, you're a more confident man than I am. Your feet don't sweat?
Well, you're from New York.
Yeah, my feet sweat.
Right, exactly. So I used to, when I was in New York, not anybody cares, but when I was living in Brooklyn, like, down the subway, you're wearing socks all the way up to here. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, there's no room for that sweat to go.
Yeah, right.
It just kind of pools at the bottom of your foot. So it's just like, you know what? Socks are out, that's it. No more socks for me.
Wouldn't it be wild if we spend the next 40 minutes just talking about feet sweat? Like, how was Murr's parable? Great. All I did was talk about feet sweat. Strange.
You have something, injuries. That makes me think of one of those sort of things that would have happened lingering afterwards.
Yeah,
right?
Mostly my ego. No, I've gone to hospital so many times for the show. Do you guys remember the dodgeball punishment? I had 2 black eyes from it. I got 3rd-degree burns when I climbed into the ice cream cart. Unbeknownst to me, I was wearing shorts. Unbeknownst to me, there was a slab of dry ice on the bottom of the ice cream cart. And I was sitting there, and that was fun. I went to the hospital from the weirdest thing. We did a challenge at Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, and Sal slathered me up with Vaseline and then pushed the earpiece in my ear. Unbeknownst to him and me, he had pushed the Vaseline into my eardrum, and it bonded with my ear canal. 2 days later, I was throwing up and falling down. People thought I was drunk. It's because there was Vaseline in my brain. So, so screw you, Sal.
I think Sal can suck it. I think they can learn these.
So Sal can suck it too. That is a beard. Oh my God, sir, with a beard. Well done. Nice. Can I borrow some of that from the top of my head? I can grow that on my back.
Do you look back at any of these and you think we've gone too far?
What's that?
Is there any of them, over the years at all, when you look back you think, we went too far?
I mean, crime diving was much. You guys remember when they threw me out of a damn airplane? What's not on TV is I ran off set, I scurried away like a little ferret, I ran off set, I locked myself in the bathroom for a half hour, I wouldn't come out, I was crying hysterically, and I FaceTimed my mother to tell her I was going to die skydiving, and I love her, whatever, and she rejected the call. A second later, she texts me and says, "At Macy's, not now." That was a little much, that punishment.
Was there any of these that you had, it took like an army to orchestrate?
Yeah, I mean,
the biggest one it took for you to orchestrate.
The biggest one, I think, still to date, was when we put Sal in the haunted, he was like in a cave with zombies, a zombie apocalypse punishment. We had like 200 extras we hired. They were there for hours getting prosthetics and makeup and everything. And the set was underground, under a street. It was crazy. It was probably the biggest punishment that we ever threw. Huh. Yeah, that's it.
Most expensive.
Most expensive. Well, we blew up Q's Jeep. That was expensive. I think the most expensive single moment was Q's hair. They flew in the country's best wig maker. They shaved his head and he put his hair back together, follicle by follicle, in the exact order it was on his head, but my head is 1/4 the size of his head. So they had to like microwave and shrink it down. Does anybody, first 5 hands I see. First 5 hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You each get a guess. How much do you think the wig cost to make? What is your guess? 3,000. Who else had their hand? 75,000? What? We're on channel 1 million. We don't have that kind of money. Yes, 75,000. 6,000. 7,500. 20,000. So I'm going to give a $20 bill to whoever got it closest. Yes.
Closest to the actual retail price is.
And I'm going to autograph it too. That actually makes it worth less.
Not if you sell it on eBay, I think that actually improves the value.
Who says $7,500? There you go. Congratulations, there you go. Here's the $20. This is the first time I've ever piece you back. It was $10,000. That's an expensive head of hair right there.
Now, how do you explain that to the guys who are actually, on True TV, and you say, by the way, we have this $10,000 wig that you now have to pay?
I think they're great supporters of us. By this point, they kind of, when we are really passionate about something, they just let us kind of do it. But a lot of the punishments we pitch to them, they're like, you can't do that. Like, what are you thinking? Like, the very first punishment we pitched them is called Speak Now or Forever Hold Your Peace. And then the punishment idea is this. The loser of the episode has to go to a stranger's wedding. And when they say speak now or forever hold your peace, he's got to stand up, object to the wedding, go into detail why he objects, realize he's at the wrong wedding, apologize and leave. And everyone's like, no.
This would never happen.
It'll never happen. We also have another idea, this is crazy, called I'm Sorry for Your Loss. Sal doesn't let us solo stand-up. I do solo stand-up shows too, and he's working hard at it. See, the idea is this: we blindfold him, we take him to some random room, and we say, Sal, when you take the blindfold off, walk through the door, you'll see a microphone and a podium. You've got to go up and deliver your best 15 minutes of stand-up. He doesn't realize he's in a funeral home, and he walks in, there's a coffin and mourning people, and he's got to go up to the podium and do his stand-up. What he doesn't know is that it's fake. There's no dead body, there's no funeral, it's all fake, but it's a mind F. You know what I mean? He doesn't know that. We can do it.
Who's the most devious among the four?
Oh, me, for sure. Look at me. It's not that I'm really devious, I just have very squinty, narrow eyes. I was born that way. So my eyes are too small for my forehead, So it makes me look devious on TV.
So it gives you a leg up on the competition.
It gives me a leg up. They think I'm always scheming or planning something. I'm usually not. I'm usually thinking about my puppy.
You have a puppy?
I do. She's like, oh, we miss my puppy so much. You have an Apple TV? I can't stream to it. Do you? Is that an Apple TV? No? I'll go around showing each of you my puppy and my
We have a lot to do after here.
I know. We're going to be here until midnight tonight.
That's pretty good. I think we get to the point. What time are we ending, by the way? I want to make sure we leave enough time.
I think it ends at 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. Yeah, we're going to answer lots of questions from you guys. Anybody have a question?
Yeah, and I want to make sure we leave time, because I feel like I'm going to exhaust a couple of these at some point. If you have a question, let's do this the way we normally do it. If you have a question, come up to the mic. That'll be the easiest way. Not only can Murr, how do you... I know.
That lady knocked a baby over.
I know.
She's like, move it, kid. Here we go. That was a child, man. She knocked it into the ground. Baby was born an hour ago. Whose laugh is that? It's a great laugh. Okay.
You know what we could do? We have this mic seems to be working. I don't know how much
try turning that one on.
This example.
Is that one on? Let's see.
There you go.
Oh,
15 minutes.
There we go.
Do you want to use this mic, or we got that?
It works now.
Okay. You know what's funny? He asked me the question. I heard the question, and I didn't realize that the microphone was working when he gave me the question. That's funny. All right.
What's your question, sir?
Where did the idea of like a secret party Murr in the movie come from?
The secret.
In the movie, how you're like always having parties in the hotel room?
So the idea was this: the guys always have said for years that they don't know what I do at night, you know, because I would just disappear. And so we made it into what doesn't come across in the movie is that they had no idea what was going to be on the other side of the door. We secretly planned it, and so when they see it on camera, that's for the first time. That's when they see it. You know what I mean? So it was just people running joke that they have no idea who I am in real life outside the TV show. Probably because Sal has my phone number blocked on his phone. Yes. A man who kicked the baby, yes.
What punishment are you glad wasn't here?
Oh my God. Thank God I did not have to cross out kids' paintings with a red X. Oh my God. I mean, you have no problem with it having kicked a child? My heart would have broke. These poor kids, the poor little last girl, she's like, you don't have to do this. He's like, yes, I do. Thank God that wasn't my punishment. Good question.
I just have two questions. One, where's your friends?
Where are my friends? I'm going to slightly curse. I'll say this. This is a running joke in the show. They're up your ass to the left. Don't say that word again.
You guys ever go to
Well, I would love to. I'll tell you what. We should do like a ski slope punishment or something. Because I'm the only one that can ski. That'd be great. You know? Oh, we did a ski lift punishment where Sal and I were on the ski lift together for like 5 hours. And we only had one Twix bar. One Twix bar would Twix us.
Okay, so you mentioned the winning punishment and the skydiving punishment, but personally, what was the worst punishment for you to go through?
The worst punishment. Oh, I mean, in the Joker's movie, my birthday fell right in the middle of filming, and we've been filming all day. We finished at like 6 o'clock at night, and the guy said, Murr, we're gonna take you out for your birthday. We'll meet at like 10, 11 o'clock at the bar. So did I say bar? Bar. So we go to the bar. I'm like 8 shots of Jameson in. We're lit. And then they take me to a club where gentlemen might go, and we go there, and there's people dancing around, and we're getting a lap dance or two, and the whole back wall opens up, and they flew my entire family in. Birthday hats and birthday gift, from my like 10-year-old nieces to my brothers-in-law, everybody. There was my life before that moment, and my life after that moment. Because I was drunk too! Mortified.
Yes, so the running joke up your ass and to the left, can you explain where that came from?
What?
Up your ass and to the left. Where that joke came from?
We've been saying it for 2 decades, because in New York City, people come up and ask you for directions all the time. So I still do it now. It's like in second nature, I'm like, oh yes, it's right up your ass to the left. You know? I don't know. Where does that thing come from? I don't know. Seinfeld? I don't know.
How many people catch on that that's exactly what you said? You're walking up to a stranger and you tell them,
No one. Because you do it confidently, like, oh yes, do me a favor. You're looking for Empire State Building? Yes, it's right up your ass to the left. The brain skips over the yes part.
I was wondering, since you guys have gotten a lot popular over the years, do you guys get recognized a lot more when filming?
We do. It makes the show much harder to produce. But it's a good thing. Like, if no one recognized us, it would mean the show sucked, right? So, but we have little tricks to keep the show real. So the trick is this. Like, let's say the 5 of you here get called in individually for a focus group. You don't know each other, right? As you're walking down the hall to the focus group room where Sal is and the hidden cameras are, you'll walk down the hallway with the producer, and I'll be in the hallway pretending to be on my phone or something. And as you walk by, I'll strike up some BS conversation with the producer. And if you recognize me, we stop you before you get into the room. So the only people that get into that room are, if they don't recognize me, they're not going to recognize Sal, right? So as you walk by, the producer will look back at me, and I'll either give a thumbs up, meaning you don't know the show, and you're good, or I'll give a thumbs down, which means you're a fan, and we'll thank you for being a fan, and we'll take you outside and we'll kick the crap out of you. Yes, sir.
So, my family and I were actually just watching Impractical Jokers right before we came
Oh,
over.
right.
And we laughed so hard at that show that we cried.
No, thank you.
What is the funniest to you Right, you guys have ever.
There's only been a few moments in the show where my knees have buckled from laughing. And I've never experienced that before because I'm not like Sal, you know. Sal's like a knee. He's got no cartilage in his legs. It takes a lot from me, but I've had a few moments. One was Novocaine, which I'm now allergic to because of the punishment. As I was doing the cooking presentation, my speech was getting worse and worse with the tongue twisters, and so in my head it was getting funnier and funnier, so I literally had to duck behind the table from laughing. The other one was, I had to give a speech and they made me flip random cards, like non sequiturs, and they made me say, my bald head is full of crazy thoughts, and I got called. And the other one where I crumbled, my knees collapsed, was in season 2 maybe, I had to pose nude in front of an art class, and so I'm there, I'm already mortified doing these stupid poses, the Karate Kid and stuff like that, and, you know, the Heisman, whatever, and then they hit a button, and I started rotating, like a freaking rotisserie chicken, or a pig on a whatever, and I just the image in my mind of my butt cheeks being flat, you know, because my knees buckled from laughing. Thank you for reminding me about that, sir.
So I have a question. Is your billboard road sign still up?
It was up for a month, it's down, but that's not the worst of it. You're talking about the My Shiny Hiney punishment, where I am the face of anal bleaching. What's funny is I told a few people today, we have it at my, you know, the stand where I'm taking photos and stuff, we have it, I'm required to sell it. I make no money from it. The guys get all the money. I have to sell it, they get the money. That's not, the billboard is not the worst part, even though it was on a massive turnpike, right in Jersey. That's not the worst part, and it wasn't even the New York Post. The worst part was, do you guys get those like Valley Pack coupon packs in the mail once a month? So they send those out to 8 million New Yorkers every month, and they bought an ad out, so that advertisement went out to 8 million people. So every idiot third and fourth cousin I have kept texting me photos of it. I was like, lose my number, cuz.
So there are episodes, actually I love you personally, and I love you absolutely.
I love you too so much.
But there are episodes too where like his morale kicks in and he just keeps saying like, no, you shouldn't be doing that. Is there ever like a moment in your head to where any of them did it, or you, and you just kept thinking to yourself, like, why are we doing this? This is not okay. Get out.
You know, in the Joker's movie, they made me fly outside of an airplane. That's crazy. They, crazy story, and I agreed to do it, but they had to take a $15 million life insurance policy out of me in case I died doing it. And the only way the company would insure the movie is if we filmed that punishment on the last day of filming. That way, God forbid I died, they could still release the movie, which is crazy. So like, they trained me to do this, right? You're on the ground for like 2 hours training how to do it, right? Because there's very specific motions you do. You start in the cockpit, then you take off, and you have to climb out in midair, which is crazy, right? So I said to the pilot, I was like, dude, you know, you have a little teeny tether on your ankle that's like 15 feet long in case you fall off the plane. You'll be dangling below, because you still die when you try to land. I said to the pilot, I was like, has anybody fallen off? And he says, yes, it's happened once, but thank God the woman fell over the front wing, and so she was dangling only from like 3 feet. So when they landed the plane, she was banging around, but she lived, right? I said, okay, but what if I fall from on top and I'm dangling way below? He goes, well, we have a plan. I said, okay, what's the plan? He goes, well, I'm gonna go into a nosedive, and the plane will be going faster than your body's falling, and I'm gonna try to reach out of the cockpit and pull you back in. I said, that's your plan? That's your plan B? Yeah. Jesus Christ, yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna be honest, this next question is only partially related to Impractical Jokers because I didn't believe this till I saw this. But when you were in the intro to one of the Bones episodes.
Bones? The
Yes.
TV show Bones?
Yes, the TV show Bones. When you and Sal were in that intro Bones.
Yeah.
Did you honestly feel like you were being chased, or was that an actual script that you had to practice?
I'll tell you what, so do you guys remember the Fox TV show Bones? It ran for like a decade. So the writers of the show were just massive fans of Joker. Jokers, so they wrote us in as Sal and Murr, you know, and into the intro. So we find the dead body at the beginning of the episode that sets off the whole investigation for the episode. And to their credit, they gave us a script and they said to us on set, do whatever you want. And so Sal and I just ripped every line, which is good because we can't memorize the lines. You know? Yes, sir.
Have you guys ever considered releasing an episode that can just consist entirely of footage of people finding out they're being pranked?
Well, I think we will one day. Sometimes if the reaction from the mark we call it, is good enough, we'll put it in the episode. But that is by design. I would argue that you see that in every episode because we're the ones getting pranked. We're the ones getting embarrassed, and you see our reaction in every challenge. You're just there to witness our embarrassment. So I would argue that we actually do that every single episode. One day I think we'll do a compilation.
On a follow-up with that, have you ever heard back from someone after you finished filming and they said, wait a second here.
We're friends with a number of people. Do you remember the guy that Q threw a chicken finger at him? And he comes walking and he goes, unbeknownst to us, he just come back from, I think, Afghanistan. So he was obviously a little reticent about things flying at his head. And so he was a super nice guy, but he comes into places like, who chewed a chicken? Who chewed a chicken? Now, then he didn't know the show, he became a fan of the show, and now he's one of our dearest friends.
So how often, like, when you guys are filming, do you get recognized? The reason I ask is because I saw the episode where Joe's in the grocery store, he's complaining about the hotel service.
Oh yeah, and fans kept coming up to him. Yeah, that's right. It happens a lot, but keep in mind there's 8 million people in New York City. You know what I mean? So for every one person that recognizes us, there's like 5 others that think we just look like their pharmacist. I get that all the time. People are like, you look familiar. I was like, yeah, I work at Walgreens and prescriptions ready. Come on in. We don't look famous. There are people at this con, celebrities, that look famous. I look like I sell rugs. I look like I can get you a good deal on a mattress.
Real quick, I can just add my brother Levi, you could be here. Big fan.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you. Thank you too. Anyway,
I've heard we have 4 minutes left. 4 minutes. So, what if we do this? How many guys do we have left in line right there? Like 20?
oh my God.
Can we do rapid fire? Are you guys cool with that?
Rapid fire, one more
Rapid
answer.
fire?
Go.
Who is your favorite Joker to mess with?
Joe. Oh, Sal.
What was the worst stranger reaction?
The worst what?
Stranger's reaction.
This is not a one-word answer. So we got the cops called on us. So we were working at a grocery store. Sal was behind the counter, ringing customers up, and a woman handed Sal her credit card. And I said, it's not on TV because we almost got sued. I said, Sal, very nonchalantly take out your cell phone and snap a photo of her credit card before you swipe it. Unbeknownst to us, she had had her identity stolen 2 months earlier. She called the cops, they come in, she called 911, we couldn't calm her down, screaming and everything. The cops calm her down, they take her out of the store, they come back in, we're like, shoot, we're gonna get busted. The cops come up to us and they're like, guys, we're huge fans, can we take photos with you? Suck it, lady!
What is your least favorite punishment you've received?
What's that?
What's your least favorite punishment that you have received on the show?
The motor-thon was embarrassing. So when I had to run across the Brooklyn Bridge in 40-degree temperature with an ice cold water thrown at me, you know, everything shrunk. Yes.
Who do you think is the stinkiest Joker?
The stinkiest? That's a weird. Q looks like he smells. But he doesn't. Not us. We all have good hygiene. What a weird question. Like I'm gonna dish on my friends. Yeah, QBO is terrible. No. What a weird question. Thank you.
How does it feel to be the ferret or the screw up of the group?
How does it feel to be the ferret and the screw up of the group? I think I got it going on, man. This is your official 2-minute warning. 2-minute warning. I make the same amount of money as they do, so I'm not a screw up. Yes.
What's worse, having your eyebrows shaved off and having it on your license, or being known as Curious George?
Curious George?
Yeah, you had to wear like...
Oh, yeah. No, the eyebrows is mortifying to this day. Thank you for reminding me.
All right, battle royale between all you jokers. Who's coming out on top?
Wow. in like a Thunderdome?
Oh, yeah.
Is that on top? Do we have weapons?
Ladders, chairs, you name it.
What? No, because then I'm gonna choose a bazooka. No.
All right. No.
Like just our fists? Is Q drunk or no? Drunk Q will demolish all of us. That being said, if they're all sober, I can run circles around them. Look at them, look at me. Catch me, bitch. To the winner.
We probably have time for two more questions.
Would you rather have fingers the length of your legs or legs the length of your fingers?
Wait, what? All I heard was would you rather have fingers that you like or like your fingers? What was your question?
Would you rather have fingers the length of your legs or legs the length of your fingers?
Fingers the length of my legs or legs the length of my fingers? You gotta go with long fingers, right? Because at least I can still reach books off the top shelf. Oh my god! Yeah, I can definitely reach books off the top shelf. Weird question. Also, Q stinks. Okay.
How does your wife feel about you still sleeping with Blanky?
I'll tell you what. My blank is here, Salt Lake. Okay, so my grandmother made it for me when I was a baby, and it used to be full size, but over time got torn apart. And I dated a girl years ago that for like a year, and she, we first started dating. She goes, look, after a few nights she spent over, she goes, look, I don't really like that you have a blanket in bed, you sleep with it, you cuddle with it, instead of spooning with me. She goes, so it's kind of like, me or the blankie. And I said, the door is right over there. Listen, before we go, I'm sorry I can't get the other question. Before we go, I did promise a selfie and I will post it, okay? So I'm gonna do this here, I'm gonna turn the camera around. I want you guys all to raise your hands. I'm trying to get everybody. Okay, hands up. Ready, guys?
Good, you could.